Okay, we're recording. So obviously there's a chat box on the side, but please, you guys, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you feel you need to interrupt us and ask us questions while we're on the subject, please feel free. That's what this call is all about. Okay. But anyway, welcome back. We're so excited. This is our first call back from the long holiday break that we had. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like so ready to get back into the swing of things. Like, I mean, you know, the hustle and bustle of the holiday season and just us, you know, connecting over the past few weeks before the holidays to be able to connect with each other each week and then stopping that. Like sometimes you're like, oh, I need that, you know? So and I'm sure I can speak for Colleen and Ashley, like we need that as your leaders and as leaders in general. Like it's good for us to have that unity, which brings us to our topic this week. So I hope that you guys had a really good holiday season with your families. I hope that you were able to rest in between the madness, and hopefully you are ready to take 2018 by storm. So this week we are chatting all about building team spirit, creating team culture in your business and in your organization, which is something that is very crucial because, you know, you want to make sure you are creating a place that people want to be involved in and want to, you know, flourish in, because they say that people join Scentsy. Well, not that they say, but for the most part, you know, 9 times out of 10 people join Scentsy for the money, right? Like, I mean, there's so much that you can gain from a Scentsy business, but they don't really know that till they're in it. But what they do is they stay for the connections. So if you can find a way to, you know, make a culture where nobody wants to leave and they feel valued and appreciated and all that stuff, which we're going to get into, then it's way less likely that they're going to fall off. Okay. Because like, I mean, I look at somebody, you know, like myself in my business, like, I mean, of course, you know, obviously like I'm doing this because it's my full-time income, but I still gain so much from this business, aside from friendships and confidence and all the stuff that Scentsy offers me. And so that's why I'm in it. Like I'm literally Scentsy ride or die because I know how much I gain from it. So you, as, you know, the leader of your organization and your team, you sort of have to instill that and create that, okay, which is kind of what we're going to go into today. So I'm going to touch a little bit on ways to connect with your team, because I think that connection is huge. It's really a crucial part to, you know, your business and just, you know, building relationships with people. So, you know, connecting with your team is going to be very important. And in turn, when they feel connected to you, they're going to, you know, just flourish in that. They're going to love it and they're going to want to be a part of it. They're going to want other people to be a part with them. And they're just going to, you know, it creates that ripple effect. Okay. And I know like on Facebook, I'm sure we all, because I know I still do it too, where we're like, oh my God, there's no engagement on my post. There's like 55 people seen my post and only one person commented. And, you know, it does get discouraging, especially through social media, okay? So when you're creating the culture where you'd like to see repeated, so you've heard things like recognized behaviors that you'd like to see repeated, it's the same thing for the culture of your team. You want to make sure you're recognizing the things that are happening in your organization that you want to see repeated. So things like a positive atmosphere, no negativity. Like, you know, anybody on my team knows, and I'm sure same thing for Ashley and Colleen, it's like, we don't really stand for that. So if negative things come up on my feed, I delete that, you know, and my team knows that as well, because negativity breeds negativity. And so when one person starts, next thing you know, other people are chiming in, and then before you know it, you have a negative, you know, atmosphere on your page. And if you have or leaders on there or whatever, building their own teams, and they're seeing that, like, it can affect people, and you don't want people to be affected by that. So that's obviously, you know, something that I think is important that I instill in my own team anyway. Always seeing the good in situations, trying to rise above and all that. What? I cannot. I literally told him, give me 2 seconds. I'm so sorry, you guys. Dylan, you have to go downstairs. Mommy's on the call. You have to go downstairs. Go to Daddy right now. Go inside the room with Natalie with Daddy right now. I don't care if he's letting you go sit on that couch in there. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Literally right before this call, I said, do not let him come up here. Let him go in the room with you when you put Natalie to sleep. So anyway, guys, but another thing too, like, you know, just creating that culture within your team. Like, you know, this is the thing, like creating that culture is something that just takes time, and being consistent in, because, you know, I look at it like when I first started my team page, you know, I didn't have the participation that I have on my team today. And I honestly still have days where I'm like, there's no participation. Like, what's going on? I don't understand that. But it's something that I've always been consistent in, regardless if I had 3 people on my page or regardless if I had 103 people on my page. Like, it's something that I was always, you know, positive in answering people's questions. Like, you know, if you continue that, like, I'm not saying you need to be answering people's messages 24/7, but if somebody posts on the team page, you know, like, not that you should be the only one, but if you start doing it where you're answering questions for people, or maybe tagging someone who knows an answer, where you could be like, hey, can you help her out, or whatever, creating that unity, they're going to start to see that. And they're going to start recognizing it, or repeating it rather. Welcoming new team members is something that I think is really important. I actually, a long time ago, I created a welcome committee group. In my whole group, I posted something where I said, you know, we're doing this welcome committee. Every time we have a new consultant or a new, you know, dream team member, we're going to, whoever wants to sign up to be a part of the welcome committee, we'll just, you know, show them love when they come in. And so I have this like Facebook Messenger group, and everybody who opted into it, that's all it literally is. It's just a messenger group. And they opted into it. There are some people in there. Some people left the group. Some people are still in there. It's really not a big deal. But if I see that someone had posted on, like, let's say we have a new team member and nobody's welcoming them at all. Because I think too, with social media, people get lazy. Like, it's way easier to just scroll past something than it does to take, you know, the 2 to 3 minutes that it takes to comment something, if even that, you know. And I think, like, it's important to be intentional about that. So in the group, if I see that nobody has welcomed this new team member, I'll go to that welcome committee group and I'll say, hey guys, we have a new team member. I just want to let you know, whenever you get a second, just go ahead and show them some love, whatever. Thank you for being awesome, whatever, right? And then before you know it, people are commenting on that page. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that for every single person that comes on, but sometimes when I feel it's a little lacking, like, that's something that I did, I don't know, like a year ago, and it definitely helped the participation on there. So you can even do things like that, but welcoming new team members is crucial. Encouraging and empowering others, you know, on a job well done. And again, you know, I just see it time and time again where it starts that way and then it kind of dies down. So sometimes I have to kind of revamp or remind my group, like, what our team culture is and the things that, you know, I'd like to see within our team. Like, sometimes I'll go on and I'll be like, guys, we have a lot of new team members. Like, let's make sure we're making them feel welcome. Think about how it was when you first joined Scentsy. Like, sometimes they need that reminder, and that's okay for you as their leader to do that. Obviously, you know, you have to choose your words wisely, but I think it's important, okay? And then also the same no excuses mentality that basically has been instilled in our upline, you know, down into what we do, because what you do and the culture that you create is going to trickle down, like, all the way within your organization. And Ashley and I were just talking about this too. Like, the culture that's in our group, like our, you know, Wickless Leicester, Beantown Accents, Valiant Harbor, like, those all came from Kristen Ingalls and Jennifer Anderson. You know, it's cultures that they've created within their organization that sort of trickle down on us. And it's not to say that we're doing exactly what they're doing. We may have come up with different things along our way, but, you know, the culture is there because we understand the importance of it, okay? So I'm just going to quickly talk to you guys about some ways to connect, and then we'll get into some other fun things with building unity. And I have some wine. I'm sorry. It's like the first time I'm ever drinking wine this late in a while. So I love this topic actually because we were just talking about this at leadership, you guys. So this is a side note, like Scentsy, I know I posted about this on my team page. I'm sure that Colleen did post in your guys' team page, but there's like some awesome, I'm not going to get into it, but like awesome, like changes coming to sponsoring and your team and just like all this different like building unity and connecting and all that stuff is coming. Like Scentsy's coming out with this awesome program. So they said that they're going to tell you guys more about that at World Tour. So obviously I'm not going to get into that, but just know that like Scentsy is on point with their training. So I'm going to just talk a little bit because we did talk about ways to connect while we were there. Like that was one of the breakouts that we went to that actually stood out to me the most. Because that's something that I personally want to work on in my business in 2018. As your group grows and as your business grows, like it gets hard keeping up with, you know, how many people you're recruiting, and then they're recruiting people, and you make connections with different people in your organization. And maybe you didn't even sponsor them, but you're connecting with them in one way or another. So I think it's important to understand how to connect people and how to be connected to people in your business, because again, connection and relationships is what's going to keep people in and you know, make them feel a part of something, which is what you want. So a couple things that Scentsy that we actually mentioned this week was different ways that you can connect. So you and your team, right? Like if you think about when you sponsor someone, you know, I think it's important to tell them how you are going to communicate with them. One, you have to figure out their form of communication, but like, do you send them emails? Are you going to send them text messages? Let them know they have the group page, you know, things like that, and being consistent. Like I actually have a checklist, which I'd be more than happy to share with you guys, of what I do. I have, let me see here. It's a follow-up checklist that I have. Now, I'm not like so consistent with this every month, but again, 2018, clean slate, right? Where it's just basically like week 1, I send an encouraging text to all my certified consultants, right? Or send a GIF to anybody who promoted the previous month. Like it's just a little checklist. And again, I haven't been like so like on the ball with this because a lot of times it's relationships and not, you know, you're not talking to everybody on a monthly basis, so cookie cutter. Sometimes you might talk to someone in between, and so that's why I think it's hard for me to kind of stick to this, but I'd be more than happy to upload this if you want to have a guide or something to just trigger your memory. Maybe you want to create your own, I don't know, but I will upload this for you guys. But things like that. So how are you connecting with your team? It can't just be on Facebook, the same way that posting about your business, about someone who holds a party, can't be just on Facebook. It has to be more than that. So find different ways to communicate with your team. I send out, when we have like monthly chats and stuff like that, I will obviously post on the team page, but I also will send an email too. I also want to start incorporating email more in my business. Like, you know, if someone is on the verge of promoting, I might send out an email to all my downline who's about to promote that month, you know, because I think we take Facebook for granted, and sometimes we think that just because they've seen the post that all of a sudden, you know, they should be right into it or they should be participating, when a lot of times people are on Facebook, they're scrolling or they're on the go or they don't have time to, you know, to comment back. And so that's why I think different forms of communication are very important. So email, text message is going to be crucial because it's personal, you know, it's personable. And it's like, you know, if you send someone a text message like, hey girl, I see you're so close to shooting star. Oh my God, you're doing so good. Versus giving them a shout out on the team page. Like, yes, the team page is public recognition, but that personal text message from you, your leader, is going to mean so much more, because they're going to be like, oh my gosh, she reached out to me. She took the time to text me, and that means so much. Like, you're going to, every time I text somebody, I get a message back. But if I post on Facebook, more than likely they're not responding on there. And then I'm getting frustrated because I'm like, oh my gosh, 50 people seen this message and nobody responded, you know, and I'm stressing myself out. So find ways for you to connect with your team, different forms of communication, and also ask them what their form of communication is, okay? Also, your team members with each other. So like on the team page, or if you know somebody who's like really good at events, like I know Laura's not on this call right now, but she's really good at events. And every time I have somebody ask me like, hey, how do I do a vendor event? I will literally pass them Laura's way. I'll say, listen, I have a consultant on our team who's really, really good at events. Feel free to message her or whatever. Of course, I'll tell Laura if I mind if I do that, but, or even like you could tag her on the team page and be like, hey girl, I know you're really good at events. This girl has a question. Maybe you could help her out, like kind of connecting them on purpose, because that's going to create the unity. And the more unity you have in your team, the more they're going to start to rely on each other. And the more friendships they're going to make. You know, they're going to start to form relationships with each other where you don't even need to be involved. And it's going to be better for, for your own sanity, but also for them to build that unity with each other when they start making those connections and friendships. I mean, look at Ashley, myself, and Colleen. We're not on the same team at all. But we were in Wickless Luster group, in the downline, and we all communicated, here and there, answering questions or whatever. So I think it's important to connect your team members with each other in one way or another. Also, this was another one that I thought was important that they had, which was connecting your team to home office and to events. So obviously directing them to consultant support is important, but like Scentsy events, like letting them know what they can gain by going to a Scentsy event, like the leadership trip that I just went on, I took my pictures and I posted them in my team page because I want my team to see what they can gain and benefit from being at a Scentsy event, like letting them know, like, hey guys, I'm at my leadership event this week. I can't wait to come back and bring you all the golden nuggets, which is obviously true, but like purposefully putting it out there with intention to let them know everything that they can gain from going to Scentsy events, because that's where they're going to make those real connections. And the home office staff, like, understanding how the home office staff is and how they go above and beyond for their consultants. And obviously that's something that if you don't know that either, too, you guys, like if you've never been to a Scentsy event, which I think most people on here have, or you've never, been to home office or whatever, like make that a goal for yourself so that you can then instill that in your team, because it's going to be very hard for you to be like, yeah guys, go to World Tour and go to Reunion if you're not there either, or go to home office and meet the home office staff if you're not there either. So definitely like put that in your game plan at some point. And then also they had your team, connecting your team to tools and resources, which is probably the most important, right? Like every time, so you're not driving yourself crazy answering questions for people, but helping making them self-sufficient. Like on my team page, I have albums like all over, like for new consultants, for leaders, anything that they need to know right there on the team page. They could go to the albums and they can look up stuff. It's a work in progress, but it's still there. And it's something that I know I'm always continuing to work on. Obviously, letting them know about their news tab and their business practices and marketing, like things like that you are making it known for them to connect to in order to train themselves effectively by talking to them about YouTube and referring them to places. Like I'm always talking about different ways for them to find information. If I found an article online that I found useful, I'll post it on the team page and I'll be like, this is a really great article on how to brand yourself on social media. Post it on there. You don't have to answer questions. It's a way to provide resources for your team so that they can find those answers on their own, okay? And then, of course, just connecting with them on the team page, commenting. Like I said, I know sometimes it's easier to just scroll by, but I try and make it my mission. If I see someone post in the team page, if somebody hasn't already answered it, I will personally go and answer the question. Or if like a new consultant, or if, let's say, one of my leaders posts that like one of their team members promoted to certified, I will make it my mission, or, be very intentional about going on that post, even if I'm busy and even if I don't want to do it, going on the post and, giving them some congrats toward hitting certified, right? Because I'm their director, right? So it's just creating that unity. Also, like I think messenger groups are a good way to connect with people. Like I said, I have that the welcome committee one that I have. Like you could do anything. You could have one for your leaders, especially if you feel like your team page doesn't really have the participation just yet. Like, that would have to be your personal discretion. Marco Polo, like, can we talk about the fact of how Colleen and I literally became like sisters through Marco Polo? Like that's such an awesome app because you can literally just video chat each other like 24/7. So even if you have a group for all your leaders or people on your team, and I've tried that and didn't really get too much participation on it. So I think if you just be consistent and keep telling them how awesome it is and keep telling them to join it and all that. I also, every now and then, I'll use the Jib Jab app and I'll send people text like a little Jib Jab and I'll be like, oh, girl, you got 500 PRV this month. Like little things like that so that they're like, oh, hey, like recognition is so huge. Postcards, shout outs, small tokens of appreciation here and there are all ways, which it sounds crazy because it's off of Facebook, but it's going to create that unity. When people feel like they have a place where they belong, they're less likely to want to leave that. So I want to tell you guys one last thing before I let Colleen and Ashley talk because I ramble. But as I was looking up because every time I do a training too, and this is one thing I want to tell you guys, like, I know sometimes people look at the role, quote unquote, of a director or a leader, and they think that like, oh, I'm never gonna be able to do training. Tell me to do this. Every time I do a training, you guys, I just Google. Like, I'm like, how to build team spirit, Google, right? And I research on my own so that I can make bullet points of things that I want to talk about. So as I was doing that today, I came across Google. Google is probably the number one place that like people want to work. Like I used to want to work there before I worked, had a Scentsy business. But like, I just want to talk to you, like tell you guys some of the perks that I came across of working at Google. Okay. So I promise there's a method to my madness here, but they have employee recognition programs, right? So they do free food every day in their campus cafes, their micro kitchens, and they have endless options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all free for their employees. They take free cooking classes. They have free cooking classes that they could just stop their job and go take a cooking class, or to just bond with their teammates. The employees can also organize a program that they have called Google Talks, which brings in speakers who may have interest to them. They had Lady Gaga there, and they had Ryan Reynolds just come and do like a motivational talk. They do exercising on gym sites for free with free workout programs. Beautiful offices in the world with outdoor patios. Free massages when the employees are feeling stressed. If they're feeling stressed, they could go get a massage, okay? They get free shuttles to and from work every day. Free shuttles, that's awesome. And they're encouraged to have a healthy work-life balance. They have foosball tables, they have playtime, they're allowed to take naps during their work shifts, okay? I'm guessing that the employee lounge is pretty cozy. They have education subsidiaries and tuition reimbursement. They get discounts at museums because they're all constantly learning. And they're encouraged to volunteer in community service programs. They have a very casual dress code. They could dress however they want, and their pets are allowed to come to work too. Like, don't you want to go now, knowing that, go to be and work at Google? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, damn, like Google is where it's at. So I know that that's like a work environment, clearly, and their employees and all that, but it's the same concept within your team and organization. That is a place, if people know that they can get that, like they can, not that specifically, but a place where they feel valued and appreciated and fun, a place where they want to be because they know that it's not going to be anywhere better anywhere else. That's when they're going to want to stay. So think about that culture in your own organization. Not that you have to offer your team members free massages, but, just like the culture that you want to create within your organization. And I promise when you're consistent with that and you stick to that and you're true to that, your team members will feel that and feed off of it. And before you know it, they'll be doing it on their own. Okay, so anyway, so I'm not going to ramble anymore. I will go off with Colleen or Ashley.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. If I start to break up, please just stop me, okay? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are talking about team culture, building team spirit, and, when I think about team culture, what I try to, relay to my team, what I'm trying to create within our team, our group of being is culture. One of my positive community, right? Positivity, inspiring, supportive. I want everybody to feel empowered and informed, and a great way that we can continue with our team culture and team spirit is through meetings, right? So I try to be as consistent as I can, although holidays happen, and I try to keep it the same exact day every single month so people know and can plan ahead. And I always plan out, a few months ahead of time. I just posted on our team page for Beantown Accents for the next few months. So everybody knows that it's this day, this time, same place. It's like Groundhog Day. The last, Sunday of every month, it's the same exact thing. And things change from time to time. But aren't just, it's at all. As we go, you can do trainings, you can do team exercises, but really, like Patty has said before, people join a lot of times for the money, but stay for the connections, right? And when you go to these team meetings, you're continuing that team culture of showing up, right? Being involved, engaged, participating, and you're really connecting with your peers. You're connecting with your leader. Your leader is connecting with you. You get to know each other on another level. And think about if you're not showing up to team very often. Like, I know that if I'm personally showing up to team meetings, I mean, aside, I know when I feel rejuvenated. I feel I am in the know. I feel so much more connected and ready to rock, right? Don't show up, just in your own head, you start to spiral to another. You start believing those nasty thoughts inside your own head, right? You justify your doubts and your fears because you're by yourself. Show up to meetings, you go, I did the same exact struggles as you, also the same exact successes, and people that understand and get, because we know over and over again, but not. So it's a go and connect with your people. You never know who's going to, and I'm telling you, you have got to find somebody in this business, whether it's one, two persons, three people, no matter who it is, you've got to find your people, because they will make your journey all the worthwhile. I promise you. Okay? Because again, you can join, but you still have connections. So that we have to think, we've got to be showing up to our meetings. Okay? Now, you guys as my leaders, right? And I mean, if we're not putting emphasis on showing up to team meetings, to events, in events, it's the same exact thing, you guys, right? We're creating this culture of team spirit. We're building a belief within each other that, hey, we're doing this. I can do this. You can do this. We're all on the same boat together. We're inspiring each other. We're supporting each other. We're pushing each other along, right? We're all on the same page. So if we're not putting emphasis on having team meetings, on going to team meetings, then our teams aren't going to know that it's important. If you're not showing up to your leaders' team meetings, your team is going to look at you and be like, well, she's not going. Why do I have to go? You know, because you hold no value or emphasis on that same thing that you're pushing. It gives you no credibility. All right. So you've got to create the culture of, you know, these things are important. You cannot run a successful business without creating that culture of unity, of community. Okay. So again, try to be as consistent with what you can as far as meetings go. I mean, sometimes it's not always going to be an in-person meeting. Sometimes it's a Zoom meeting. But you really have to kind of find a way to communicate with your team regularly to build that team spirit, to build that community, to build that culture, the culture that you've envisioned, the culture that, you know, like Patty said, we've gotten from Jen and Kristen, and now we're pushing along ourselves. And it changes along the way, but there's the few main values and Scentsy core values that will always stay the same. Simplicity, authenticity, generosity. And is that it, you guys? Look at those it. But it's always going to be the same, right? And we can put our own spin and changes on it. But, you know, it's always the same core values that we're creating. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Ashley, do you want to add anything?
Yeah. All right. Happy New Year, guys. So I'm just going to keep it real with you for just a second, okay? I am that leader that has scheduled team meetings and had one person show up. I am that leader that has had Zoom calls and maybe two people showed up. And it was like, what do I do? What do you want me to do? You say you want to do this, and we do this, and nobody shows. Or you say you want to do it this way, and nobody shows. So What's missing? And I am that leader that let that get to my head. Okay? It's very easy to let that happen. It's very easy to believe those lies, like Colleen was saying. But you can't do that. I was telling them earlier, like, I'm so happy for this new year. I was so excited to get started with this program again, because not only are we here to help you guys, like, this is helping us. This is stuff that we need as well, because the burnout can be real. The struggle can be real, but it doesn't have to be. Okay? I let Valiant Harbor know that I'm free on the 26th of this month, and I had maybe 2 or 3 people say, I'd love to. You know what? I'm going to do it anyway, because if those 2 or 3 people value what I have to offer them, if they want to feel the love that I have in my heart and the support and the encouragement, then I'm going to give that to them, because they want it and they deserve it. You pour into those people that are invested in you, and love the rest of them. You've heard us say that before, okay? So I did a pilot program that Scentsy offered over the summer. It's spring into summer, called Accelerated Leadership for Star Directors and Superstar Directors. It was the first time they did it. It was very detailed and time consuming, but they had so much good content, and we're going to get into a little bit of this in a minute when we talk about some things that we want you guys to think about. But in this one exercise that I did, there was this one quote that stood out to me, and it was, give the ones you love wings to fly, roots to come back, and a reason to stay. I want that to, like, really resonate with you. You want them to be strong enough, independent enough to grow and fly on their own. You want them to have roots that they know that they can come to you with anything and trust you and lean on you for that encouragement. And you want them to stay. Just like Patty said, most of the people stay for the connection. So are you giving your team members that connection? If not, what can you do to change that up? Are you leading by example? Are you creating an environment of positivity? Because negativity, what do you do whenever you see a negative post on Facebook? Does that not just make you feel dirty? Like, it really makes me feel dirty. And there's been some posts that I've seen within my team page, I'd be like, like, I might have to come back in a couple of hours because I'm about to say something really ugly. Okay? And as a good leader, you're going to try to always look for the good. Say somebody's pissed because Scentsy offered a special and the warmers sold out in like 30 minutes. Oops. It happens, right? Yeah, it sucks, because we've had it happen recently. Yes, it sucks, but it was so nice of Scentsy to offer that for us. They didn't have to do that. Congratulations to the people that got the chance to take advantage of it, and leave it at that. Delete the post if it continues to get ugly. Always create that positive culture. Always look for the good in everything. Simple things like welcoming team members are so important. You should not have to be the only one on your team page to post or comment or like. I think what Patty did with the welcoming committee, like, that's brilliant. I never would have thought of that. But that's why you have each other. That's why it's so important to have these relationships with people. Like, we met through Wickless Lister and commenting and friending each other on social media. And when we met in person, it was just like, where have you been my whole life kind of thing. That's what you're going to get. That's the value that you're going to find in this company. Jennifer Anderson shared that. Melissa Gratz told her one time. Who knows who Melissa Gratz is? She's freaking awesome superstar director. Love her. The value that you find in Scentsy is directly related to your contribution to the community. The community is your peers, your team, your extended Scentsy family. What is it that you bring to the table? What kind of legacy do you want to leave for your family? Or what kind of legacy do you want to leave for your team? I really want y'all to think about that. Okay? I'm good, Pat.
Yes, I'm loving this call, you guys. This is awesome. Not for nothing. Like Ashley said, like we need this too. Like I need this, you guys. And like Ashley said, like think about that legacy that you want to create. Like for me personally, you guys, like I get just as burnout as you guys do. Like I literally went to leadership. And I'm going to share something with you. Like we went out to like a director dinner with Jennifer Anderson, and she was going around the table asking everybody like what their vision is for 2018 and what, you know, she can help them with or whatever. And I was literally at a loss for words because I was like, I don't know like what my vision is right now in my business. Like I feel so stuck. I feel like I've said it all. I feel like I've come, you know, it's like how many times can I tell my team that the sky is blue in so many different ways, you know, like I feel stuck too. But I will tell you, after going to the breakout sessions at leadership, I was like, yep, I'm ready to go. Like, I know what I want. So that's where, you know, going to events and stuff like that comes into play. But it's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel stuck and, you know, feel like you have nothing to offer, which one, you should know that that's a lie. You have absolutely so much to offer. But it's easy to get in that feeling, especially when we communicate with our teams every day. We tell them the same things. It's like I said, how many times can we tell them that the sky is blue? How many times can I tell them to go, you know, do a training on sponsoring or whatever? Like I must have talked about sponsoring in like a million different ways in the past 2 years. So that's okay. So it's okay. I think it's natural to get to that point where you just feel like, what more could I give? But there's always more to give. Okay. And I also loved what Colleen was talking about, you know, as far as like with connecting with people. Like I think if you are willing and open to connecting with others, regardless if they're on your team, regardless if they're not on your team, they're just Scentsy peers, people you know on Facebook, whatever. When you're willing to put yourself out there and open up to people, that's where the connection happens. Like, don't be afraid, even if they're not on your team or not, but especially on your team. But like, don't be afraid to like I said, it's so much easier to just scroll past somebody's post. So if you have people on your Scentsy friends list that you connect with in one way or another, comment on their stuff. Start building that relationship with them. Stalk them on Marco Polo like Colleen did to me for so long. I mean, like whatever you have to do. All right, it wasn't Marco Polo, it was Facebook Messenger, but whatever. But, you know, like be willing to put yourself out there is my point. Because I think sometimes, like maybe we get intimidated or we don't think that, like, I don't know, because I do it to myself too, where like I'll want to comment on someone's post or whatever, and I won't, because I just feel like they're out of, you know, my caliber or whatever, like they're Scentsy celebrity or whatever, and they're not, you know, like whatever the case is. So be open to talking to people, be open to having connections. That goes the same for your business, you know, with your customers and stuff like that, but also with your team, especially with your team, you know, establish those relationships. And I think when you do that, that's where the real connection is going to happen. You know, I've even started Marco Polo chats with some of my leaders also, where I'll just send them a message. And through the holidays, like it's been busy, I just feel so disconnected to my team, to everything. There's been no participation. And right before I went away, I opened up my Marco Polo app and I saw like the last few videos that I talked with people. And I literally just sent a quick message and I was like, hey girl, I hope your holiday was going good. And I was very, you know, obviously I'm genuine, but I was intentional about it. You know, like I made it a point to go and do the video, because it could have been way easier for me to not do the video and then just talk to them at whatever point when I got back. But I was very intentional, and that's my word for 2018. I told you guys, or maybe I haven't told you guys, but that is what I want to be like super intentional in my business, in every aspect of my business. And so I made a video and I was just telling them like, oh, hope you had a great holiday. I'm about to go away, but I just wanted to reach out to you to let you know I appreciate you, like just something like that. And while I was away, I got like videos back from them on the Marco Polo, and it just creates like that, you know, feeling of belonging, which I think is important. So that's pretty much it. So your guys' homework for this week, homework challenge, is to this one is going to be more so like internally for you. So we want you guys to think about the team culture that you want to create within your team, within your organization. There's no right or wrong answers. Like, this is solely for you and your team. Okay. So your answers might be the same as someone else. Maybe they won't. Like, I mean, maybe you're looking like whatever it is, positivity or whatever. Don't feel like you have to choose positivity as a part of your team culture. Like, this is solely for you. Okay. But what we want you to do, and this is what Ashley was saying about the program that she was in, is write down words that you envision your team culture to be, whatever that is, okay? Not what your team culture is now, but like what you really truly want it to be versus how it is now, though. So how can you change that? And I'm going to put up some questions on the group to kind of spark your, I guess, not memory, but like kind of spark your interest in your inspiration, I should say, is spark your inspiration into finding your team culture. But think about things like, what's the type of culture that you want to create? What's the point of this change? Like, are you feeling like participation is lacking? Do you maybe feel like numbers are low right now? Or, maybe people aren't booking parties. Like, what is it that you want to change that's a little different than what it is right now? Okay, so what's the point of that change? What kind of modifications or changes do you want to do? Like, what's your action plan to make that happen? And what will your team gain from this? What are they going to gain out of this team culture? What's the incentive for them here? Not that it's an actual gift incentive you're giving them, but ultimately what they're going to gain out of this. Okay, so I'll put those questions up for you guys to help you. But does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to say or add or anything like that?
I just want to add, you guys just really know that your culture for your team is something that's always going to be evolving.
Right.
Like, what it is that you vision, those words, when you write them down, 5 to 10 words that really speak to you about what is most important for you and your team culture in the future. Okay. And those are things that you're going to be working towards. And people are going to come along that really aren't serious about the business part of Scentsy, and they're going to leave, and participation's going to go down and participation's going to go up one day, and then you're going to have like 10 consultants on the will cancel list, and 2 months later you're going to recruit 20 people. I mean, it's always going to be this thing like this. It's going to be up and down. But remember, there's no perfect balance in anything, unfortunately. There's no such thing as perfect balance. But how are you going to find harmony? How are you going to make those words, make this beautiful melody where you feel peace and where you're proud of what you've created? Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Does anybody have anything to say or questions or anything like that? I know it's been a few weeks since we all been together.
I just want to say thank you. I think you guys are amazing, and I totally needed every single bit of what you said tonight.
Oh, well, we're so glad, Pat. Like, you are amazing. All of you are amazing. Seriously. Like I said, we needed this just as bad as you guys do. And do you see how we connected? Like, this is it. We connected after however many weeks now, and we're like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, your teams need that too. So for those of you in my group and my team, like, that's a goal for me personally as your leader, as your director. Like, I'm going to be on point with like my connection, my team. That's just something that I have to work on because I'm so scatterbrained as it is, where I'm like, I need to make this happen. So
can you hear?
Kind of,
sort of, really.
Okay. I'm like,
say it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Really on a freaking cell phone commercial.
Good.
Okay, so I just want to say first that we've connected, for a while, and it's the year. So I really encourage you, if you haven't, to just get together with your teams or your leaders, whatever that looks like for you, and really touching base with everybody feeling this kind of slump right now, you guys. Just think, if we're feeling it as leaders, we have teams under us, people that have nobody under them. They're not feeling any kind of push or motivation to do this. really touch base with them and connect with them. Fuel, that positive culture into them. Connect with them, with just this positive environment and community that they have, right? Because they need, all right, more now than ever. We all need it. Our numbers are reflecting, like this is all real and serious right now, but our numbers, I'm sure every single one of us are looking pretty yucky right now, right? So we really got to connect with our team, see where they are, talk to them about their goals, and let's break it down. We're going to be going over very, very soon something that we learned is that leadership. I'm going to bring it back to you guys. So we're going to just kind of get together, the three of us, and figure out how to roll out to you guys and how we want you guys to do it, or how you guys are going to do it to your teams, or how we want you to. But really connect, really show that culture that you want to create right now. Right now, you need it, not when it's good, but really when it gets hard. And we might be coming into a season right now, and after the holidays is hard, and that's real. So connect with your teams. Every single one of you should be connecting with your team, seeing what's going on, seeing what their goals are, breaking down how they're going to happen, okay? And putting that belief into them that they can do it. Yes. So right now, think of like, how is it going to happen? And in turn, when you're helping them, you're going to be helping yourself. I mean, literally, just like that, us talking to you guys right now is like breathing life into me. I just leadership, so I had a little extra boost, but I was just feeling kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not seeing much movement. I kind of don't feel great, although I'm moving. I don't feel like the passion behind it right now, to be honest. But, doing this right now has really kind of given me something. And just remember that we have to do this for our teams. It doesn't stop with you. It starts. We deliver the message, and then you relate to the rest of your people. All right. So this is the culture that we're creating, right? So just get out there, you guys, and do the best that you can. But it was really good to hear from you guys.
Oh, she's gone. She cut off. You're muted, Patty.
Sorry. I said that she went off, but I feel like it sounded like she was kind of almost done, like wrapping things up.
Yeah. I just had a thought
Mm-hmm.
in my head. So, and we can add it to Colleen's brain. But I feel like, even Patty and myself and Colleen, we all needed this tonight. So I was just sitting here thinking, listening to her talking, and I'm sure you guys have heard the quote, if serving is below you, then leadership is beyond you, right? How many of you have heard that? Meaning leadership is a servanthood. You have to have a servant heart to be a good leader. So it's mid-month, right? Almost mid-month-ish. I'm down for this if y'all are down for this. Connecting with at least our front line. Think of these words. I want you to think of these words moving forward in your business 2018. Connect, love, grow, and then
You guys write that down?
make those connections with your front line, those that you personally sponsor. Make those connections with them.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to love them. You're going to build those connections and those relationships with them. Then you're going to grow. And then how are you going to serve them as a leader? Serve them well. Y'all down? Can y'all do that? I think you can.
I love it.
To church tonight. I love it. I'm so like Colleen was just saying, I mean, leadership gave me a little bit of a boost, but this is what I needed, you guys. And I hope that, you need this as well, just as much as we do, because we treasure and value you guys, so much as our leaders. And we know that you have the same thing in your business with your team, your leaders, and it's just going to continue. So think about that culture, what you want to create, and that legacy you want to kind of instill. So, all right, so that's the homework. And then next week, we're going to be talking, this is kind of an interesting topic, which probably doesn't get talked about a lot in this business, is the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it might
be all about this for days.
Exactly. Because this is kind of like along the lines of what we kind of touched on here, is feeling that, way. So I'm not going to get into that because I will literally go off on a tangent, but that's what we're going to be talking about all next week. Okay. So we can't wait to see you guys. And, we're so excited to get this accelerated leadership kicked off again. We will see you guys next week. Wait, does anybody have any questions? Last minute? No? Okay, cool. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.